What is the name of this place again?
The Lions Automobilia Museum.
Price transfer.
No, I don't think
No,
you need to
they-
make, don't mention price.
They changed it. I thought it was foundation.
I'll talk to you later.
How you like it, Randy?
Donnie needs
Isn't it?
I love it. absolutely love it.
Lions Automobilia Foundation.
Foundation, see, he was saying museum.
No.
Uh-huh.
So it's
Official name is
Pops?
Lana Chrisman.
He's with the camera. He's over
Yeah,
here.
right.
Foundation.
He's right back here.
Okay, good.
Hey, Dad.
No, that's all right. Leave him alone. He's enjoying
Hey,
this.
everybody's got their phones off?
I guess, is mine off, Tommy?
Mine's
Let me
dad's
close
on.
this door.
Okay.
All right, we were rolling.
Okay.
Hey, Donnie Couch here at the Lions Automobilia Foundation, owned by Rick Lorenzen, and he is telling me that this car, Stonewoods and Cook Willie's, inspired him to do all this. It got him involved in racing, and it's quite a story to see this car sitting here now, Mike.
Oh, I know. I got goose right now just talking about it, but yeah, this is where it all started at. You know, Stonewoods, and originally Cass Pittman was involved with it.
Yeah, he drove it.
Yep, and then Tiger moved on, and they didn't have anybody to drive it. And then my dad had a 1937 Chevy, and it had a blown Chevrolet in it with a chain drive.
The chain drive.
And I have one. Donnie Johansson gave me one.
Really?
And there goes that skin again. But anyways, and I still have the 37. We were gonna try to drive it today. And the only thing I haven't touched on it is the dash. It has the original dash with flea, did all the pinstriping,
Oh,
it's got
yeah,
a
I
spider
remember
on it.
Flea, yeah.
Remember the spider?
Yeah.
It said Cadillac and Olds on the valve cover.
Wow.
So that, Doug didn't have the money to go race it. And so Tim Woods, got a hold of my dad somehow through the grapevine, and he asked him if he would go to Indy to run the car. And Fred Stone had already left the team. He worked for the FBI, so I've been told. And Woods, Tim, owned a construction company in East LA. So they hired Dougie to go back and drive the car, and they did good. In '62, I actually still have hanging on my wall, 62 Nationals he won, you know, and it's on the cover of National Dragster. And that's kind of like where it all started at.
Now, do you have any recollection of this car running? Or how old were you when
Oh,
this car?
gosh, I was just a little guy then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember any, I don't even remember him driving the car I have, the A car.
Really?
You know, I
Yeah.
remember the funny car, but I don't remember I remember a few things, but I really don't, remember it that well.
Yeah, well, this car has quite a bit of history, especially the racial aspect of this thing, you know.
Big time, Tim.
Tim, black, of course,
Yeah,
and
and so is Stone,
Stone.
yeah.
And there was places where they wouldn't even let him drive the car, right?
That's right, they weren't
Because
even,
he was
they weren't
black.
even allowed to be in the stands.
Yeah, or hotels or anything. It was
Yep, a lot of
different
hotel-
time in America, but this car went through all that
Yes.
with a diverse group, and they all got along, and their only goal was to go race, and race never came into
No,
a factor.
well, not with us, there was a lot of race in the factor.
Yeah,
But,
from
like I say,
spectators and people.
Tim Woods, I don't know why, but he loved my dad. I mean, my dad could do no wrong. And Tim would sit, he always bought a brand new T-Bird. And he'd always sit in the T-Bird at the racetrack or even at the shop. And he'd sit out in the T-Bird and just sit out there and watch Doug work on the car and do stuff. And then, like I say, later on, he told my dad, he says, you're driving it, you're doing this and that. He goes, I think we ought to split everything down the middle.
Yeah. Well, your dad was a pretty incredible mechanic and a driver, and was the inspiration behind all that, and they held a lot of records. One thing, it was, they lost a lot of cars in towing accidents.
Well, the original B car was lost in the towing
Was it?
accident, yeah.
Okay.
That's the only one they really lost,
Okay,
towing.
so I know they had an accident with another car, but maybe
Yeah, it
it
wasn't,
wasn't.
this
they
one
didn't lose
here
it.
was being towed on a trailer with a station wagon. And the station wagon was lettered just like this. Had Stonewoods and Cook, painted blue, and it said Swindler on the, right over the back fender.
Wow.
And they were coming back from Indy, I believe, and blew a tire and it rolled down a hill.
Oh, man.
And then that car went to the junkyard. But that was the original B car.
Yeah.
So they took all the interior and everything they could, get off of it, and then they built this one here.
So this is the original.
This is the real deal.
This is not a repop,
No,
folks. This
no.
is the real deal. I look at the interior's ripped and everything where he's getting in and out
Oh,
the seat
yeah.
every time. It's just a beauty.
Oh,
That
no,
that didn't
absolutely.
get redone and
No.
fixed
And
up.
thank God that they've left it alone like that. I mean, you could make it pretty, but, Doug Cook sat in that seat there, not in a repop seat.
Right.
Doug Cook had that steering wheel in his hands,
Yeah.
so.
Well, now, I know Rick Lorenzen won't have anybody change anything on this
No.
car. This is gonna stay.
Thank
This
God.
was his inspiration for all of this, and,
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful thing to see sitting here when they're all original like this.
And we want to thank you for doing that too, the whole family.
My pleasure.
And if I
Right.
ever pull the A car out, you got it.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Mike.
Nice,
no, I
nice.
mean it. It'd be nothing prettier than both cars sitting here.
Oh, yeah. So what's your plan? You are, doing Bonneville stuff up there, Saul?
Well, you know what? When you have a father like Doug Cook that did everything, done it,
You gotta follow that path, right?
well, kind of. But, when he crashed the car, before that, when he built the first funny car, the Dark Horse 2.
Yeah.
Because Chuck Finders had the 33 Willies. It was called the Dark Horse. Because we had so many bookings, we couldn't do them all.
Yeah.
So that was Stonewoods and Cook and Finders, 33 Willies.
Wow.
So when Dougie and Tim decided to go funny car racing, they called the funny car the Dark Horse 2. And it was a 67 Mustang. It had the long front end on it. Ronnie Scriver built it. And had the big old rear end in it. And it had a Porsche grill up over the deck lid, so the air would come out from
Oh,
under it.
okay, yeah.
And then on the bottom down here of the pan, it had Corvair Corset grills under there to let the air out there.
Wow.
And it had Tim Woods. It had to have Thunderbird taillights in it. So what had happened was Doug would do a burnout with the Mustang, and he'd turn this switch on, and the taillights would.
No kidding.
Oh yeah. And that car there, unfortunately, that ended Doug's career. At Alton, Illinois, September 13th, 1967, he was back there racing the Kingfish Barracuda car. And
I know that car.
TP Smallwood.
Yeah,
Oh,
TP.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When my dad crashed, he always called my dad to make sure he was okay too.
Yeah.
But anyways, Dougie, she jumped off the ground and he was playing with spoilers because the car was spinning the tires in high gear. So he took a spoiler and he started playing around with air on the car. Well, not thinking then, he put so much downforce on the back of the car that the car hit that bump at Alton, Illinois. He
Yeah.
had 3 or 4 bumps down there, and it hit the bump, and when it did, it kind of
Air under the car.
air underneath the front, and you could see half of the blower in the Hill 4-port with a scoop. When he hit, he remembers, and it's funny, he remembered this whole thing up until the hit.
Yeah.
But he remembers the